Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our family service for today. I'd like to welcome you all. It's nice to have our family services for the first month, January. So today I'd like to introduce you to our chairpersons for this service. We have the Bunny family here joining us. Mama Bunny and the little ones, they are Buddhist bunnies. And you can see that Mama Bunny has her mask on, reminding us to be cautious and careful wherever we go to protect ourselves and protect each other with this pandemic situation ongoing. The babies are still too little. Everyone has their onenju, so they are ready for service, and they would like to welcome you to our service today. So for the service order, we're going to have the reading of the Golden Chain, and then the Rai Sanmon, which is the three treasures in Japanese. And then I'll take my seat up on the Onaijin, and we'll chant the Sanbujo and the Ni Rai. Nembutsu and Ekoku will complete the chanting portion, and then I'll come back here for a short Dharma message. Okay, so with that we will begin. Please join me in the reading of the Golden Chain. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I'll be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Rai Sanmon. Ninjin ukegatashi imasuri ni uku. Puppo kikigatashi imasuri ni kiku. Konomi konjo ni mukatte dosuzumba. Sarani izure no sho ni mukatte kako no mi o dosen. Daishu moro tomo ni shishin ni sambo ni kieshi tatematsuru beshi. Mizukara butsu ni kieshi tatematsuru. Masani negawakuba shujo to tomo ni. Daido o taige shite mujoi o okosan. Mizukara ho ni kieshi tatematsuru. Masani negawakuba shujo to tomo ni. Fukaku kyozo ni irite chie umi no gotoku naran. Mizukara so ni kieshi tatematsuru. Masani negawakuba shujo to tomo ni. Daishu o tori shite issai muge naran. Mujo jinjin mimyo no Howa. 100,000 万号にも愛をことかたし。我今検問し従事することを得たり、願わくば如来の真実義を消し立てますらん。ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナモアミダ仏、ナマンダ、ナマンダ、ナマンダ、ナマンダ。三部上12来。
Ido
少女習得経血女国調査利益徳自在古賀将来未打損実法名門菩薩衆無料小魔女三段一生修上願力中古賀将来未打損根体保険地所系前言少女名誉大座お膝上女仙の古賀将来未打損実法将来勝負し権限人図し安楽戦後尊厳上業古賀将来未打損小無常無我と薬女水月伝女老一種説法無名字古賀将来未打損一尊仏説無悪名薬無如人楽道夫主任死心教非尊古賀将来未打損一尊無料法勉強無所修悪知識往生不退死菩提古賀将来未打損我説非尊功德不慈修善無変妖怪水小逆前言少女者衛生種上 to this family service once again. I'd like to start with the reading of Awasan, so please join me in Gassho. People who say the name in self-power all fail to entrust themselves to the Tathagata's primal vow. Because the offense of doubting is grave, they are chained in a prison of 7 precious materials. Namo Midonsu, Namo Midonsu, Namo Midonsu, Namata, Namata. So this wasan from Shinran is again encouraging us to recite the Nembutsu, but those who say it with self-power are not really entrusting themselves in Amida Buddha. So because of this, there's doubt in their practice, and he's cautioning us to be aware of this doubt that might come upon us. So just this week, I had opened a book written by Reverend Yakumo, and so I was reading one of his chapters, and he was sharing this story kind of going on, and he's talking about Japan. So Yakumo Sensei was maybe 40, 50 years ago, and so a different era, different time in America, and soon after the war and rebuilding of Japan. And so he's talking about in Japan how the men, a lot of them became known as saying the only 3 words they use at home is about eating, bathing, and sleeping. And so it doesn't lend to much of a close relationship with the husband and wife. So their own concern is eating, bathing, and sleeping. So beyond that, there's not affection shown in the family. And so Japanese men were kind of portrayed in that manner. And I don't know how serious, whether they had groups that joined into that, but and he was relaying that, you know, after the war they worked so hard to develop Japan, redevelop Japan to the point where second only to America economically, and the men worked hard, very, very hard. They would come home exhausted, and so this led to the eating, bathing, sleeping mentality. And so when men would retire, they would get maybe 3 years of salary, and that would be their retirement benefit. And it became more common that women would want to get divorced, you know, and take that as seed money to find their new life. And so after years and years, you know, even if the husband were trying to reconsider and rekindle their relationship, you know, after years and years of being subjected to that type of dialogue, you know, they didn't want to reconsider, and so women would go on with a different life and get divorced. And so this kind of trends were happening at that time, and he's kind of going on and on. So where is he going with this in a Buddhist book? And so then he talks about America, and where in America, in contrast, the husband is much more affectionate perhaps, and so you hear often the husband saying, I love you in the morning when they leave, and I love you when they come back. And for myself reading this, I'm envisioning maybe the Donna Reed show or Leave It to Beaver kind of shows that were playing way back then. And so envisioning the portrayal of the American family in that manner. And so he starts to talk about the Western families saying, I love you, maybe too easily in the Japanese perspective. Why do you need to say it that often? You know, why do you have to, it's like you're trying to convince someone or reconvince someone or to convince yourself. And so is that sincerity really there if you're saying it that many times? And so through these first 4 pages, I didn't know why he's bringing this up in a Buddhist book. And then he brings up when we say the Nembutsu, there's like a debate, consideration. Do we say it once call it Ichinen Tanen? Do we say it once, or do we say it 1,000 times and repeatedly? And which is the way we should practice in saying the Nembutsu? And so I kind of finally got where he's going with this. And so he's, in comparison, do we say the Nembutsu once? So after your awakening experience, then to say the Namo Amida Butsu with clarity and conviction that you have had this awakening experience, and the Namo Amida Butsu in complete gratitude of having been awakened by Amida. And so, after that, you might say Namo Amida Butsu again and again in appreciation of all the things that you receive in your life. So what is the proper practice? To say the Nembutsu once or to say it many times? And so they would have these debates about practice, the Nembutsu practice. And so he's comparing, saying, I love you, to this Nembutsu practice. And in comparison, the Japanese man's way of talking to his wife, spouse, just talking about eating, bathing, sleeping, maybe similar to just saying the Nembutsu one time, and Western way of saying I love you repeatedly and repeatedly. Maybe that's like saying the Nembutsu again and again and again. And so he points out that Shinran, didn't adhere to either of those extremes, and to have the awakening experience is the most important thing. But thereafter, if you are comfortable to say Namo Amida Butsu for whatever happens in your life, then that's fine too. But that doesn't make your practice more. It doesn't make your awakened experience more or less. Okay, so it's the awakening experience, and then the Nembutsu is just a matter of gratitude, no matter how many times you say it. And so, unusual way for Yakumo Sensei to be getting to this point, pointing out maybe some of the deficiencies of the men in Japan at his time, to ignore their wives to the point of exhaustion from work and things, and not really paying attention. But if their relationship was there, certainly their communication, their dialogues at home would be much more than that limitation. And in Western society, it's not just to say, I love you, to hide something that you don't want your wife to know, or pretending to be sincere or something like that. If there is a sincerity, certainly there's value in sharing your affection. So kind of his conclusion is kind of like Shinran's conclusion. It's not the one time or the many times, but the sincerity of the act and your clarity in recognizing the awakening experience, in coming to that perspective of the Nembutsu. And so we can conclude this talk by reading the Wasan once again, but maybe we can consider how do we act in our lives at this time, different society now, but still considering, trying to learn, how does the Nembutsu work? How does our practice, how is it that we're supposed to practice our Namo Amida Butsus in life? So please join me in Gassho once again. People who say the name in self-power all fail to entrust themselves to the Tathagata's primal vow. Because the offense of doubting is grave, they are chained in a prison of 7 precious materials. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda. Thank you once again for joining our service. Please come up here or there to offer incense, Oshoko, however you have set up to do. Again, whether they're rocks or flowers or marbles, anything you have that's a gesture of offering. Again, just like Oshoko, as we normally do with the incense onto the burning embers. So please come up in Oshoko. We'll conclude this service one more time with Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you for being here. Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda.